think we might be good to go. Others may join as we're going along, but we'll go ahead and get started. Again, welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm Amy Belote, Vice President for Program Operations for SSP International Summer Science Program. We're very excited every year at the start of the admission season. It's an exciting time for everyone. And so I'm so happy to be here kind of as part of this kickoff to the application, kind of rolling into the new year and getting things underway. Um, I'll tell you a little bit about me and then I'll pass it along. I'm not going to be talking to you most of the time today, but I've been involved in summer science program admissions for several years. Um, I also oversee some of the program logistics, the campus logistics, as well as hiring some of our faculty for the summer. And it's great again to have you all here. Welcome, and I will turn it over to Caesar now.
Thank you so much, Amy. Hi, everyone. My name is Cesar Contreras. I'm the new admissions officer at SSP. I recently joined in August, so really excited to join the family. A little bit about myself. I'm coming from admissions side, so previously worked at UCLA, and I'm here to help Courtney with everything that has to do with admissions. Now I'll pass it on to you, Courtney.
Hi everyone, my name is Courtney Hill. I'm the Director of Admissions at SSP, and my background, I was at Harvey Mudd College before and have worked in various college admission settings. And I am really excited to kick us off and show you what Summer Science Program is all about. So we like to start kind of with a big picture. I think you can see my screen and everything, right? Okay. So we like to start with a big picture. Summer Science Program is an immersive experience in experimental science that's evolved over 6 decades to meet the very specific needs of rising high school seniors who are talented, intellectually curious, and motivated in STEM. And you'll see a lot of these kind of key themes emerging, but to give you a more specific kind of breakdown, just like our little bird is breaking down over there, but one thing I want to draw your attention to here is we are a summer science program. So program is the key word because we are different than something that is a school. We are not a credit granting program, and we are different than something that is a camp as well, where a lot of pre-college opportunities might have you kind of engaging in fun things, and we all have you engaging in fun as well. But our primary focus is on completing a research topic from beginning to end. So we were started in 1959. We have 4 program topics that we'll talk about a little bit later. And then we are a 5-week program. You are living and learning and building community on a college campus at various locations throughout the country for a period of 5 weeks. Each program, each cohort has 24 to 36 students, depending on the exact curriculum you're choosing to study, and over 3,700 alumni. So something that has evolved from our long history is that we have a very robust alum community. It's not a situation where you are coming to summer science program and then you're done. It's actually really a lifelong community, and some of our alums will elucidate that probably even more. There are opportunities in the first year after you leave the program to have some college application mentorship through SSP Connect, and then eventually to provide some mentorship. And honestly, for the rest of your life, there will be events that you can attend. We have folks coming back even from the 60s at our various alum events, and all sorts of fun. So you don't leave the community even after you depart the summer science program. And then we have 8 faculty per program to give you another kind of figure there. So that is 1 site director who is our person in charge of kind of operating the program, the day-to-day logistics, as well as student health and safety. And then we have 3 PhD holding faculty members who are giving you the instruction through the project, helping you manage the challenge, and navigate that with lectures that support the curriculum that you're learning. And then we have 4 college age RATAs who are doing a little bit of both on the academic side and guiding you through that, as well as the day-to-day like health and safety and just being there as the social connection on the campuses. Now, to briefly talk about the 4 program topics that are part of SSP, so the first one of those is going to be astrophysics, where you are tracking a near-Earth asteroid's orbit in the sky, and you are calculating its orbital path is basically the focus of the program. In biochemistry, you are designing a fungal inhibitor that kind of prevents the fungus from growing. In bacterial genomics, you are subjecting a non-harmful bacteria to various stresses, and as it is evolving in response to that, you're monitoring its genetic code. And then in synthetic chemistry, you are developing a new macrocyclic catalyst, basically from scratch is the focus of that. So our point really in showing you the programs and the point of these kind of niche programs, we probably know you don't necessarily know you want to be an astrophysicist. I definitely didn't know even what area of science I wanted to do when I was at your age and your point in school. But these are good kind of practice cases of a full research project, as well as kind of an application for different skill sets that you could pick up. So say maybe you want practice in wet lab skills, then maybe you might lean towards one of the life sciences programs. Or maybe you want more practice doing Python programming, then astrophysics might be attractive. So we really recommend taking a really deep dive on the different program areas of the website and kind of using that to help determine which one you connect with more. It doesn't have to be what you want to do for life, but it's just one way that you can kind of get these skills in place. Outside of project time, you have guest lectures, you have on-site programming, and you have field trips. So guest lectures, we have folks coming to the campuses who aren't your day-to-day PhD faculty members. They're teaching about tangential topics. They're oftentimes staying around for dinner. So it's a great practice in kind of networking and having access to a professional who can show you what it's like to be in the field and be there to answer your questions about navigating that. So that's a great opportunity. We also have on-site programming. By that, we mean the typical things that you would expect to find yourself involved in when you're in the college experience. So it might be things like talent shows, it might be things like game nights that are organized kind of in-house by your site directors and your TAs. And then you're going to get off campus as well. So you'll get to explore some of the locale things that are nearby to the campus that you will be located on. One piece to think about is financial aid. And so we have a more detailed page about financial aid that I will show you again where that's located on the website in just a little while. But there are some key points we wanted to emphasize. We are need blind, and many of you asked about our financial aid policies in your registration. So I wanted to be sure to cover this. We're need blind. Basically, that means that not only do you not apply for aid until after admission, but even if we were aware of how much aid you would need, it doesn't play any role in our decision to admit you. So admission doesn't take into account if you're going to have high need. And then also we are going to meet 100% of your calculated financial need. So we have a sort of FAFSA-like financial aid application where you indicate some figures from your household, and we use that information to come up with an amount of aid to provide you. And some guidelines to helping understand that with kind of typical expenses. These aren't hard and fast cutoffs, but I know it's helpful to see numbers to kind of contextualize what we're talking about here. So typically what we see is for a typical household with income at or below 75,000, typically attends at no cost and will have their transportation as well subsidized to make it to the campus. And then household incomes around or below 140,000 typically attend at a discounted rate. So the closer you are kind of to that 75,000, the more likely you are to have a lower amount that your family would pay. Also, we like to just point out that we are meeting 100% of aid for all participants. There aren't caps or anything like that, but to give you an idea of how many students at SSP are receiving aid, about half of participants last year qualified to receive aid based on their income, and between a quarter and a third attended SSP at no cost, including their transportation to the campus, and that is an all-inclusive cost. And so you wouldn't be one of few many people who are alums of the program or who attended last year have that financial need, and that's something it's important to us more so than a lot of things, that we are able to make sure that financial barriers are not the one thing that are preventing you from attending. And then we also have for folks who are receiving full aid, if you are typically someone who might expect to work during the summertime, we also have a limited amount of $3,000 stipends that you would receive at program completion for attending the program. And so basically the idea of that is to kind of cover extra expenses that you might have been able to support if you had been there in your household providing an income, or things along those lines. So thinking about if this is a good fit for you, if you can say yes to any of these questions, we would recommend at least taking a deeper dive on the website and figuring out if this is a fit for you. One is, are you interested in science and science research? Beyond just what you've experienced in the classroom, maybe you're looking for something a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more challenging, then this is a great opportunity to engage in something like that. Do you want to know what it feels like to be a scientist doing research? There are different ways at which you're really feeling that. One, you are completing a rigorous research project while you're on the college campus, and you kind of get that early experience networking with, future colleagues potentially through SSP, as well as the folks who are visiting, and just getting that experience and exposure. And then I think important too, and we'll talk more about challenge, but do you feel excited by the idea of working towards a goal and increasing your independence? And so do you feel driven by the idea of being in a setting that you are, like many others during the program, are kind of you have an open highway available to you where you can go as fast as you want to go. You don't have to be held back by the curriculum that's available to you. You can really kind of explore and take a deep dive and use that challenge to really grow yourself. So if that's something that sounds attractive to you, that's one thing to think about as well. And then preparation for college is on an admission front, we like to think as well as during the program. So applying for the program in the first place, you'll get experience in things like requesting a recommendation letter, things like essays, and just kind of the general feeling of a college application process is similar to what you find at SSP. And then during the program as well, you will, of course, get a lot of curricular preparation. So at times you're doing college level, graduate level work that you maybe didn't expect that you would be able to get to that point. But you're going to feel a lot more prepared when you reach the college stage, because you have that kind of curricular preparation, that preparation dealing with unexpected challenges and working with others. And then speaking of others, you also will be with peers that are like you. I made reference to this a little bit earlier, that this will be a setting where many people are, maybe for the first time in your life, are extremely eager to take a really deep dive in science. Like, that's why people are getting through the gate, is because they are really excited about science in some capacity. And so if you oftentimes, felt like you don't have kind of that opportunity to engage on that level, then you will experience that at SSP. So I'll show a couple of quick things on our website, and then I'll turn it over to Caesar. But I just want to kind of give you some guidelines for navigating that. So I think you're still seeing my screen. Great. So this is the website. If you are drawn to anything that I've shared with you today, here are some places to kind of start your investigation. One is the summer science program is kind of going to be where most of the tabs you're going to want to explore are. And in that introductory kind of phase, I would check out the explore tab to kind of determine, is this a fit for me? A lot of these top kind of bullets here are there to address that. And then we mentioned the deeper dive of the different programs that are available. Those are available here, and each of them has a description. It has some like key points to understand about the project, and these are typically super helpful in helping you make a determination on what exact project you're interested in. And then also a common question we are receiving is about the program location and dates. And so the most updated list is always going to be right here in Explore and then program dates. And so you can see the campuses that are expected to be available, as well as the dates that they will be offering their program. And then you have an opportunity in your application to, and we'll show you that in a second, to indicate the different campus date ranges that work well for you. And then say everything looks good, you're all ready to go. How do you go about applying to SSP? A lot of these tabs are going to be dedicated to that, so you're taking a deeper dive. I really recommend looking at, for one, the prereqs is a good starting point. And if you're drawn to a particular project, making sure you have what you need taken care of to be eligible for the program. And then the kind of next page I would probably recommend is checking out the different FAQ sections. There's just a lot of information in here that is going to help you feel more prepared to approach the application. So this is really a good kind of treasure trove. And then lastly, I would really recommend checking out, of course, the apply page. This is kind of going to be your hub to your application. So you're going to start your application with this button here and getting registered. But I'll cover some of the additional things here. One, events are going to be posted. You're at this event, so you found yourself here. That's good news. And there's another event coming up, but as the months evolve and something is scheduled, I'll go ahead and be posting the new events that are available. And then this is also a place where after you start your account, you can also continue to log into your account if you don't bookmark the website or something like that. It's always available here in case you need to find it. So that's kind of the overview I have for you. And then Caesar's going to show you kind of what happens after you get into your application.
Thank you so much, Courtney. So I'll be sharing my screen and going over a brief overview of the application from start to finish. Now, as where we left off, in order to actually register for your application, you'll go ahead into that apply webpage. As Courtney mentioned, you would go ahead and click on this button, register for your 2025 application account. Now, if you've already submitted an application registration, again, don't submit an additional one. Simply go ahead and log in through this link, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So after you click on this button, it will take you to our application registration. So simply, this is where you'll put in some basic information in order to request an application. And after you submit it, there'll be some manual process in the back end. But pretty much all you have to do is put in some information. First and last name are required. So anything with a red asterisk next to it requires an input. Date of birth, you do have to follow the formatting as it shows here. And then a valid email. We would highly recommend you use a personal email rather than a school or professional email. A lot of times some districts block emails or they end up in your spam folder. So would highly recommend setting up a new one if you don't have a personal one already. And then additionally, you'll be putting your high school graduation year. Note that for SSP 2025, we are looking for a graduation year of 2026, unless you are attending a school in the Southern Hemisphere, which typically follows the calendar year. If that is a scenario, then pretty much we would require a graduation date of November or December 2025. So again, that's the equivalent of a high school junior in the US. For anyone who is graduating later on, feel free to send us your information to the interest form. Even though you're not eligible, we will be able to send out outreach if you put in your interest there. After you enter that information, this is where you'll go ahead and choose what research project you want to apply to. Note that you're only able to apply to one project, and this is where you go ahead and decide on that. However, let's say you're in the middle of the process, you realize you're interested in another project, please don't submit another application registration. That's actually something that we're able to change on our end. So if you ever want to change any information, whether it be your name, date of birth, email, or research project, reach out to us at admissions@ssp.org, and we'll be able to make that change for you. So at the end of the day, you should be only submitting one application registration. Everything else can be edited on our end. We just have to go ahead and submit your request via email. So after you've gone back and chosen a research project, pretty much the last part would be putting in your prerequisites. So pretty much what that means is you're going to go ahead and take a look at your progress report, your transcripts, and see if you are eligible. So you're going to go ahead and click what classes you have taken. There's also a hyperlink right here. If you don't know what that looks like, that will take you to our webpage to show you our prerequisites. So pretty much you input what classes you have fulfilled. For additional information, you also have by June of 2025 to complete any of these prerequisites. So feel free to enter that information if you will have taken that class by June of 2025. Additionally, there is also an other courses text box where you can include any courses that are not here. So feel free to enter some information there. Once you've submitted everything, all the information, you would go ahead and fill out the CAPTCHA, make sure you're not a robot, and click submit. When it comes to all the forms or an application, all information is automatically saved. And when you're clicking on submit, that's the final submission. You're not able to make any edits afterwards. So make sure that you're reviewing all of your forms thoroughly, because after you've submitted it, it's very difficult to edit it. Again, if you do want to make any edits, you would have to reach out to us. So we ask that you just make sure that everything is correct and it's your finalized work. After you submit the application registration, you will receive this confirmation notice on the web page. Now, after you submitted that, you should be receiving a couple of emails. The first email you'll receive is a confirmation. So it's kind of similar to this message right here. We'll be sending it to your email and it will look something like this. So again, it's just a confirmation letting you know that you'll be receiving another email once we've processed your application registration. Now, the reason why there's some time between your confirmation and your invitation to set up your account is our staff are pretty much going through your application registration, making sure that everything's consistent. So your the spelling of your name, your date of birth. In addition, we're making sure that you're eligible. So we're making sure that you're appropriate age and that you have pretty much input the correct information when it comes to prerequisites and other things. So that's the reason why we're looking at the application registration before setting up your actual account. Now, if everything goes well, pretty much we'll set up an account for you. If not, we will reach out to you through your email. So keep an eye on your email. However, you should receive something within 24 hours. We are working hard to kind of set that up before that, but we do give ourselves 24 hours. But typically, you'll receive that around 12 hours. And once we process that registration, you'll receive another email with the subject heading, finish setting up your account. Now, this email is the email that will actually have the invitation to set up your account. And you'll know that because it'll have an accept invitation button. If this is not available, note that there's also a hyperlink below. So at the very end of the email, there's a link in the case that the invitation button does not work. So go ahead and click on that invitation in order to set up your account. And it'll look something like this. So this is what it typically looks for someone who's barely starting to sign up for their account. I know it kind of looks like a sign-in page, but just continue as if you're setting up your account. You would just have to go ahead and click on continue with email. Since you did submit your email, this is the appropriate button to go ahead and click on. And like I mentioned, it does not look like a particular sign-up page, but it's utilized as both. So this is the same page you'll be using to sign in as well. If this is your first time, just continue as usual. So put in your email, click on continue. Now, for someone who would have done this for the first time, it will ask you to enter your information again. So you'll be entering your email in addition to your name and last name. So just make sure that you're putting in the same information that you entered on your application registration so everything goes smoothly. Now, once all that is set up, you'll have access to your account. So you'll be setting up a password. It'll ask you to confirm it and then set up, and that'll take you directly into your application itself. And so this is what the application looks like. You'll receive a getting started message. You could go ahead and take a look at that, but it's not necessary because you're within this webinar. Now, our application is pretty easy to navigate, but we'll be going through it a bit. Now, if you ever go, or if you're ever in a form or you feel like you're lost within the application, don't worry about it. Like I mentioned, all the forms automatically save, so there's no need to submit or click on anything. Everything will save so long as you have an internet connection. So if you want to go back to this home page, all you have to do is click on our logo, and it'll take you back to this view. So wherever you are, this logo is available in case you want to go back to your home page. Now, there's a number of options here, and some of them are kind of set up the same way. So at the very top right, we have your profile. You're able to change some settings. You could add a profile picture, and you're also able to sign out. Additionally, we have our official notes. So if any of our admissions staff want to reach out or they want to follow up on a uploaded or submitted item, we will send you an email, and you'll also be able to see that email within the official notes. Now going down, we see that I have a notification for 3 forms. Note that even though it says that you have 3 forms left, you might have more than 3 checklist items left to finish. So there's a couple of forms that you are required to complete in addition to requests in order to actually consider your application complete. And I'll go over that quickly, but just note that even though it says 3 forms to review, you might have some additional items left in order to have your application completed. Now, below this notification, you will see your basic information. So this is what you entered into the application registration itself. So name, last name, email, your entering year, and your project. Again, if you want to change any of this information, please do not submit another application registration. Simply send us an email request, and we're more than happy to change that. Moving on, as you see, we have different tabs within here and some information. I would highly recommend you go through this information before starting. It has a lot of very resourceful things, such as links to our webpage itself. We also have our prerequisites and some information on transcripts. So definitely take a look at that. And also has our email. So if you ever forget where to email us, it will be all the way at the bottom right here. Now, your actual application parts will be found within the checklist itself. So as you see, you have many items right here. This is an international applicant checklist. So it might look a little bit more lengthy because we have some optional English proficiency results for international students, but I'll go over that in a bit. But the way that you're able to kind of discern whether an item is required or not is, first of all the required items can be found at the very top. So that would be the application form, your transcripts, which will be your 9th and 10th grade transcripts for your prior 2 years of school, 2 recommendations, your essays, and then your progress report, which will be your current year grades. For all the other items, those are optional, and they can be found below the checklist right here. Note that they're denoted by the word optional, so you'll be able to easily see whether it's optional or required. The only item that does not have optional next to it are the upload of English proficiency results. And the reason why it doesn't say optional is because if you do decide to submit your English proficiency exams, we do require you to upload your results. But just note that, again, English proficiency exams are not required. So I'll be doing a brief overview of a couple of items here. So we'll be looking at the application form real quick. I'll be talking about the transfer request. And lastly, I'll be showing you an example of what a progress report looks like and how to upload it. So we're going to go over those 3 items. So first of all is the application form. So the application form has many parts, but just note that they're pretty short. So pretty much this is your basic demographical information. So we're going to ask questions about yourself, your parents, visa if you're an international student, and some household information in addition to some other surveys. So that's some basic demographical information. Additionally, we also want to survey you to hear about how do you find out about SSP. Again, anything with a red asterisk next to it is required, whereas the ones that do not have an asterisk are not required. So just make sure that when you're clicking on submit, you have filled out everything, including things that are not required if you want to fill those out. The third page within this application form is the date availability. So here you'll be able to let us know what your availability looks like and whether you want to share your info with our college affiliates. After that, we have financial aid intention. So whether or not you would like to apply for financial aid. We also have a texting opt-in form. And then lastly, your signature. So again, just highly recommend you take a look at all of the information that you've inputted before you go ahead and sign and enter and submit your application form. We are able to make some changes here, but it's a bit more difficult once you've submitted. So I would definitely recommend you go over this form thoroughly before submitting it. So that's the application form. As you see, it automatically saves. And you'll be able to tell whether it's saved because you'll have the continue button. So whenever you want to work on the form itself, you'll have this button right here. And when you complete an item, it will let you know whether it's been processed and completed. And we'll take a look at it through the transfer request and the current progress reports. Another thing I want to point out are the deadlines. So as you see, for international applicants, we do have a deadline of January 24, 2025. However, for the items that request, upload or document from someone else other than yourself, we do ask for you to request that 3 days before the deadline. So this is why we're seeing a deadline of January 21 for the transfer request and the recommendation request. We do want to give your counselors and recommenders enough time to provide us with those files. So for these items, we are requiring those 3 days before the actual deadline. Note that your counselors and recommenders will have until January 24. So they don't have the deadline of January 21, rather they still have until January 24 for international students and February 21 for domestic students. So that's the application form, a little bit overview of the checklist. Now we'll be going into the transcript request. Now this is a bit different because you're not going to upload any information, rather you're going to request that from your counselor. That being said, we highly recommend you reach out to your counselor before you actually decide to send out this request. We would like it to not be a surprise, so just send an email or touch base with them real quick. After you kind of receive a confirmation from the counselor themselves or a teacher, you could go ahead and send this to appropriate email. And so pretty much this request will send an email to the counselor or administrator letting know that you're applying to summer science program and that we would like to request your transcripts. Now, when it comes to these transcripts, they do not have to be official. So they can be unofficial or screenshot, so long as they're coming from a school counselor or administrator. Now, if you haven't completed the application before submitting a transcript request, your school would not be populated here under the drop-down menu for school. So if that's the case, don't fret, simply click on select sending school, put in your school name, your counselor email, and if you like, you could also add additional comments. These are not necessary, but it's always nice to add a thank you note. And once you've completed all those items, you would have to go ahead and click on send request. As you know, the status changes every time you act upon a checklist item. So here, it'll let us know that we actually requested your transcripts on today. And it'll let you know what email and to who, by who. Note, if you have to change the request to someone else, so you sent it to the wrong email, so definitely recommend taking a look at this to make sure that's the right email. If it's not the correct email, if it's not the correct person, you're always able to resend the request. So that's not something that you have to reach out to us for. You're actually able to do this on your own. You're able to resend your request, whether it's to the same email again. So let's say that ended up in their junk mail or they didn't find it. You can always send it again. If it's incorrect email, you also have the option to resend it to someone else, or you can also send it to a different school. So you have several options here if you make a mistake or you have to change it to someone else. Now, when it comes to recommendation requests, it pretty much works the same as a transfer request. So pretty much follow the same instructions. You'll be able to send your recommender that evaluation form. They'll receive an email with a link to fill out an evaluation. And of course, we have our essays form, which is pretty straightforward. And then the last thing I will be going over are the current grades or the progress report. Now, when it comes to progress report, what we're looking for are your grades from your current school year. So that means your classes you're currently attending. So we're really looking for the most up-to-date report card, and this can be uploaded on by your own. So you do not have to request your counselor for these. It can be, for example, if you have a portal where you see your grades, you can simply screenshot that. Or if you have any form of providing us with your current grades, that will be okay. We really want to make the process easier for you, and I'll be providing an example of what that report card can look like. So for this report card, this comes from New York City Department of Education. Now, your report card does not have to look like this, but I did want to provide a kind of example. And so the things that we're looking for are some way to identify what grade you are in. So whether it's graduation class of 2026 or in 11th grade, we just simply want to see that it's your current year. And another indication would be 2024, 2025. So again, just any indication of what year these grades are coming from. That's what we require for your upload. And of course, you want to see the grades. So these are kind of the things that we want to see from your report card. Now, to upload your report card, all you would have to do is go ahead and click on the upload button. You're able to either drag the file or browse your computer. In my case, I'll go ahead and drag the file here. Note that if the file name is longer than 35 characters, it will give you a warning. So make sure that the name itself is no more than 35 characters. If it does, simply delete it, rename it, and then slide it or find it again within your computer. So that will allow you to upload it. Once you see the title of the report card, go ahead and click on save. And you'll see that's been submitted. Now, last thing I want to go over this application or the checklist is that even though you've submitted something, it will not have been marked as completed. The reason why is because we have to process this on the back end. So we have to make sure that everything is valid, and we have to do this on our own. So note that even though it says submitted, it's not been completed. Just give us some time. Our staff are working hard to process all your files. And once that's been processed, you'll see the status change to completed, and I'll have a date right here as received. And so in order to, again, complete your application, you will have to complete the application form, your transfer request, the 2 recommendations, essays, and your progress reports. All the rest of the items are optional, but if you like to kind of, add more information to your application, for example, adding a supplementary material, that's always something fun to add. We've seen different examples of these, such as like projects, portfolios. So it's definitely something for you that's available should you want to add more information to your application. Now, there's other parts of this application form, such as the decision tab. Now here you'll see your decision once mid-March reaches for international students and mid-April for domestic students. As this time, we have not sent out decisions, but this will change once that time comes around. Additionally, you also find your official notes within this tab as well. And then your contact card can be found here. So you'll be able to see your email here too, and first and last name. So the main takeaways you should be having from this presentation is 1, try to only submit 1 application registration. If you want to make any edits, just reach out to us. We'll go ahead and make those changes. And secondly, stick to the deadlines. And some of these deadlines are earlier, such as the recommendation request and transfer requests. So this is pretty much wrapping up the overview of the application. We will now be moving into the alumni panel. Today we have a couple of alumni from different years. So thank you so much for being here. If y'all don't mind, could you please formally present yourself, let us know what year you attended SSP, in addition to what school you attended, what campus, and what program. And of course, if you're comfortable with where you're from.
I can kick things off. My name is Manuel. I live in Portland, Oregon, go to Centennial High School, and I was a part of SSP just this year in 2024. I was located at Indiana University, and I was part of the biochemistry program. Had a great time.
I can go next. I'm Alex. I attended SSP in 2023 at New Mexico State for astrophysics. And I'm from the Bay Area, but I currently go to MIT.
I'm Pranav. I'm from India. I attended SSP in 2023 and I did astrophysics at UNC. I'm currently attending Oxford. You probably wouldn't know my high school, so yeah.
My name is Maya. I go to school in Texas. I go to Grapevine High School. I attended the synthetic chemistry program just this past summer at Southwestern Oklahoma State University.
Hi, my name is Sean, and I went to summer science program 2024 at Purdue University, and I did the genomics program. I'm currently living in Indiana right now, but last year I lived in South Korea.
Awesome. I think that's all of our alums. And so while you guys are thinking of questions, because I'm sure you have questions you want to submit, so please do submit them in the chat. I'll go through some of the pre-submitted things that people were wondering until I start to see some stuff that I can ask the panelists. But there are a lot of questions in the pre-submitted information about like choosing a project and whether you felt prepared if you didn't have research. So can folks share some advice on how you came about your selection and like did you feel okay if you didn't have research before doing SSP?
I guess I could go first. So I chose genomics because I thought that would be the program that I would be most prepared with. So for my junior year, I took AP biology, and the genomics program, I would say, is pretty similar to some of the content, especially Unit 6 of AP biology. So going into the program, I felt more confident about the stuff I would be learning compared to like biochemistry or synthetic chemistry, since I hadn't taken AP chemistry yet. So that's definitely something to consider. Like, have you taken a college level course in the specific topic that you want to do research in? I think that's something you should consider.
Yeah, for the actual research side of things, I had research experience for SSP, but it was about 3 weeks, so I wasn't very well versed. But but in terms of academics, you're gonna get a packet with links to textbook and resources that you can study before the program starts, and that's gonna come out in, I don't know, March or April. So if you're actually disciplined, you read through everything that you're supposed to read through, and you actually study before the program, then that's going to account for any uh, lack of academic proficiency you think you have. And for the research side, SSP has an excellent teaching model, in my opinion, and there's a gradual release of responsibility. So um, they're going to hold your hand at the start of the program, but as you get better, um, as you get more uh, experienced with the project, then you're going to grow as a researcher and they're going to stop holding your hand as much towards the end of the program. So there's always going to be support for anybody at any level.
Yeah, I'll ask one of these first questions, and then me and Caesar can kind of popcorn back and forth. But one student's wondering if you can share more details about the astrophysics projects that you worked on. So I will preempt for the alums and say that we kind of tell them not to share too much information, because we want it to be a little bit of a surprise. But I think a good thing maybe to kind of twist this too is like for the astro, there's only one astro person, I believe. No, the two astro people on the call. Maybe like what was like an academic component that you really enjoyed that you didn't know to expect? I think that's a good one example of an academic piece you didn't expect.
Uh, okay, I answered two things. One of the things that I did not expect was at the very end of the project, we did this thing with the rebound module that we predicted the fate of the asteroid. So, like, we just tweaked the stuff of the asteroid a bit and see where it will end up. And we could actually, like, there was a way to run the simulation. Like, you could see the asteroid working, like you see in these visuals that, uh, like, you take 10 copies of the asteroid and it goes somewhere. You would actually do that on your computer, and it was pretty cool to do. And another thing was getting to operate the telescope myself, because I thought that in most of the school labs, what they do is the teachers just do the stuff themselves and they'll make you look through the microscope or something like that. But when in SSP, the TA just used to sit at the back and we used to operate the telescope ourselves. That was pretty cool. So yeah.
I would say something a little bit like unrelated to the research project, but we had like some time during lectures where we like didn't need to learn more stuff to do the actual research project. So our physics professor basically spent some time just teach us like random cool things about physics, like two slit experiment. I thought that was really fun.
Awesome. So let's see. A lot of these questions are for me. There's a theme that I can answer real quick, about like what it is we're looking for. Um, to be honest, we are looking for you. I don't think there's any kind of advice I can give you in terms of like positioning yourself to be a best fit for SSP. To be honest, we are just looking in your application for an authentic representation of yourself. I like to think about it as like you're giving us a window that we can view you through. And it's not a perfect view of your entire life. There's only so many things you can fit in the window, but it is up to you what you want to put in that window and what you want to display. So if there are a lot of aspects to yourself, put a lot of the different aspects to yourself. If there's something you're passionate about, then it might appear in the application in many places. And that's a common question we get as well. Like, can I have a focus? Can I talk about one thing a lot and other things a small amount? And it depends on kind of you and what you want to put in your window. If you're really passionate about that thing and you want it to occupy 50% of the space that you're sharing with us, then that's helpful information to know. It's not a negative thing versus someone who has a more rounded application. So I think just create an application that best showcases who you are as a person. I think in determining whether you're a fit for what SSP is, I think looking at, I always recommend this, whether at for SSP or for the college app process, looking at the mission, vision, and value statements and making sure you kind of resonate with that to some degree. There's a lot of community and collaboration based aspects of SSP. And so if people looking for a super independent research experience, like I honestly would say, like there are other opportunities that are pre-college experiences that are very independent, but this is something that we're purposely building a community around you. And so if that's something you resonate with, then you might be a good fit for SSP. But there are other pieces too within our mission, vision, and values that I would check out and say, does this kind of speak to me? Do I see myself doing this? And so it's really about whether we're a fit for you as well. So that's all I'll say about criteria for selection and what we're looking for. One question is about supplemental materials. So did you guys use your supplement? What are some like fun ideas or good ideas to put in your supplement?
I can answer this. So for me, the application was pretty rushed because I got to know about the program 4 days before the deadline. So I did everything in a rush and I did not even know the supplemental thing exists until I got in. I think like domestic decisions come a bit later. And some domestic person asked me that, hey, can you suggest me what I can add in the supplemental thing? And like, wait, does that even exist? So I mean, like, I'd say like, if some of you think that there's nothing to add, it's completely fine. You don't need to add it. But if you think there's something fun to add, then go for it. But it's not like it's supplemental for a reason. Otherwise, it would be required. Is what I would say. So yeah.
I can speak on this. So, for me personally, I submitted my architecture portfolio as part of my SSP application, and I know some people who submitted art, their research abstracts, even their resumes. It's truly optional, and you should only submit something that you believe will, reflect who you are and just like make it stronger. Because the essays are where you explain what kind of person you are, but if you believe that there's something else that you can't do through your essays, this would be the section for it.
Yeah, kind of similarly, I submitted like a kind of maker portfolio, but it was like just because I felt like if I hadn't submitted it, it would just be kind of like not showing a big part of myself. But it's like absolutely not necessary. Like I know a ton of people just don't do it.
Now, some of the students are interested in your experience. So they're asking, how did you enjoy SSP? And did you find out if you liked the particular area that the project, covered? What did you learn from it? Like, is that what you're studying? Did it teach you that you didn't enjoy the subject? So did anybody have any experience regarding that?
Yeah, I mean, I think synthetic chemistry last year had a different experience than some other applicants because applying to synthetic chemistry was kind of a side and you picked another main. So I initially wanted to apply for the astrophysics program and I saw the synthetic chemistry stuff and I was like, you know what, I'll apply. It sounds like something fun. I've done a lot of chemistry in my past. And now I'm actually applying as a chemistry major because it truly just opened my eyes to how chemistry research is just incredible in a way that I had never been able to experience myself through schooling. I've always been kind of the in between humanities and STEM, and taking like participating in SSP was something I was a little scared about because I was like, I'm going to be around a lot of very sciencey people, and I realized that it's not just that; it's about community. And honestly, I come to really enjoy the science, and that's why I'm deciding to pursue it. So yeah, I think the experience is incredible, and to really just take the risk. I think sometimes because it's better to kind of do it than not do it and then regret what could have happened, because honestly, I think the trajectory of my life would have been completely different if I didn't pursue, like if I didn't click, oh yes, I'll apply to the synthetic chemistry program. And so if you're considering it, I would 100% apply, and the admissions will do the rest. They will see if you will fit in. You don't need to worry about that. Just pick what you think works best and it'll work out well.
One thing in my experience was, uh, before applying, I knew that I'll do maths probably in college. That stayed the same even after I attended SSP. But I have always wanted to do something in physics, which I did. One cool part was, with my professors, I used to discuss a lot after classes. So often they would, like, after seeing my enthusiasm, would give me some extra task, which would not be in the assignments, but like just if I have time, I could do it. So like they assign me some side coding project that I can do, which is related to the program. And there's some nice exercise that some of them I still think about. Like it's been, I think, more than a year, but I still would like revisit them. Okay, that was a nice thing. And in college, I would often talk to like physics people, and they will be talking about some things which I know that I did in SSP. It's like there's like a lot of the learning that is still with me, and I still sometimes just revisit them. So yeah, like curriculum wise, I think it was a pretty good thing. And I can like keep up with discussions with physics people, like even though I don't study physics. So yeah.
Um, for folks in their first year of college, and then also we have 2023 and 2024 on the call, so that means folks are either in their first year of college or in their senior year of high school. Can all of you share about like how engaging in SSP, like the alum community has been? Have you engaged after leaving the program? In what ways have you seen you can engage?
I can go for this. So the fall, like after you do SSP, so your senior fall, there's like an SSP Connect program, so they help you like just like figure out what colleges might be a fit for you, help you like work through doing interviews, writing essays, all of that stuff. And then after, because I'm going to MIT, so like there's a lot of SSP alumni in the Boston area, so we meet up a lot, we just like hang out. It's a good time. I feel like it's honestly like the people you meet at SSP, you will remain friends with them, you'll still in contact. And like those friendships never really leave your life. So it's a really nice like community to have.
Yeah, I mean, my roommate was from Australia, and last night we were still up on a call talking about just how life was going. We text in our group chats all the time, and then like Alex did mention, like Connect is an incredible opportunity if you're going into applying for colleges. So honestly, like I think I engage with the alumni community like almost on a daily basis, even if it's just sending an Instagram reel to our group chat. Like every app, we have a synthetic chem group chat and just talk to each other. So it's really a lifelong friendship and a community you can't you're not you think you're not going to talk to them forever, but we are talking to each other even months after we left. So yeah.
Also, apart from like just the SSP people who like, apart from just the 35 people who are in my cohort, I like there's this SSP mentorship program where like you get assigned a mentor after SSP ends for a college application. And for me, it ended like months back, but I'm still like good friends with my mentor. Like she's just a year older to me, so like there's not much of an age gap, so we became like good friends. And apart from like my SS people, I still talk with her often, and yeah, like I still talk with my SSP people, as other people said. So, and it's not just like 35 people. You're like, you have a whole alumni Discord server, and I think that is pretty active. I personally don't message that much, but I've seen like a lot of people talk there often. So, yeah.
Yeah, especially at the college applications process, then we do have an SSP alumni Discord server, and you can reach out at any time and get help from a lot of your peers who are in the same boat. And it's been a very, very useful resource for a lot of people.
Yeah. What do you do outside of what proportion of time would you say you feel you dedicated to academic pursuits? I think is one question I feel okay posing. And then secondly, when you're outside of classroom or research environment, what kind of things would people get involved in and do?
I could answer this. So this is an academic program, so the majority of the time you spend here will be spent on like the research portion. But that's not to say that you'll only be doing that. There is some free time, meal time and the weekends. They're usually free, and this will depend on the campus. But usually there will be one day reserved for field trips where you can do like something fun that isn't necessarily research. And we also had like one day where we could leave the campus and go into like the nearby restaurants, coffee shops, or like just do something fun without actually being sponsored by the program. And yeah, but just know that it is an academic program and you will spend a lot of time doing the research.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time doing academics, but personally, I thought that was really fun. I really enjoyed being in the lab for that long. Like, I don't think I would have lost out on lab time to have something more fun, but we definitely did. We would always come back after studying, and we would still have time to kind of play cards, even if that wasn't like a field trip that we only did once a week. We still had a lot of time to walk around campuses, explore, and yeah, we just played a lot of games. I remember, and learning about games from different cultures was kind of one of my favorite things that I never expected.
Yeah, I actually learned how to play a new game myself, Spike Ball. I was quite terrible at the start, but I don't know, SSB, just the whole culture is collaborative with the research and that kind of bleeds into everything. So it's really inclusive in my opinion. And I learned how to play better, thankfully. I thought I'd never improve, but I did. It's a blast, even outside of the academics.
Uh, I think so. For us, there used to be a long walk till the dining hall, and it counts as slightly academic, but I think it was non-academic in the way that SSP did not ask us to do this. But me and my friends would like while walking to walking to the dining hall and back, would just pull up a list of integrals and try to solve integrals in our head and like race through that. So as Emmanuel said, like it's still like an academic program. It's like some of your hobbies might be related to academics, but it doesn't have to be like that pressurized academic or something like that. It could be like in a fun way as well. So yeah.
The TAs do try to like organize just fun to get you to like not like totally be locked in on the grind. So we had like we learned how to swing dance, we had ultimate frisbee, there's like poker nights, karaoke nights, like you're gonna get stuff to do.
I think in the spirit of challenge, I'll ask one more question, perhaps, because we've talked about that SSP is a rewarding and fun experience, but one reality of it is that academics are a piece that exist. How was the academic side more rigorous than you expected? And if so, would that have impacted ultimately like your decision to do it again if you could?
I mean, I won't lie, it was very difficult material. It was things I've never seen before in my life. And we were learning things at a rapid pace. Like we were learning OChem, InOChem, and things that I had just gotten out of AP chemistry. And I was like, what is going on? But honestly, like with that being said, I would 100% do it again because it was just so interesting to learn about. And being able to learn about that before having to encounter it in college where the grades do matter, where you don't have a other people struggling with you that are the same age. So I think it was worth it. I think I learned so much that has helped me. I mean, I'm taking post AP chemistry right now, and it's a breeze compared to what I did over the summer. And I just know that having this information will just benefit me in ways that hasn't benefited really anybody else that hasn't taken this program before.
Yeah, for me personally, SSP was the first time I felt like I was pushed from some source outside of myself because I'm usually self-motivated at school, but I've never been like really encouraged to like push myself and push my limits. It was an amazing experience, and honestly, if I knew how tough it was going to be before applying to the program, I would have submitted my application sooner. You're going to get a lot of support during the program. You're going to learn how to ask questions. A lot of you probably applying are going to be on the top of your class, but SSP is extremely humbling. It's extremely humbling, and you learn how to learn at such a fast rate through asking questions, through admitting you don't know things, and through humility. So if you're willing to not be the smartest person in the room, if you're willing to ask dumb questions, if you're willing to embarrass yourself, but keep pushing yourself regardless, then SSP is the program for you.
Also, just to talk on this a bit more, I think on average, I have found more people who are interested in science at SSP than I've found in college. Like, I think out of the 35 people I talked to, at least 33 said that I actually enjoy doing science. Whereas in college, I've had a lot of people come straight up to me and say, I don't enjoy doing maths. I'm just doing this degree for the sake of it. But at SSP, I think literally everyone enjoys what they are doing. So this is like a very nice and warm environment.
All right. Well, I think we're around time. Um, if you have a lot of the questions in the chat, we are seeing them, but because we have our alumni here to provide some insights, like I definitely wanted to focus more on the experience side of things. For admission-oriented questions, if you haven't yet joined the Discord, check out that apply page that I showed you earlier today, and there's a Discord link. That's a great place to ask any kind of questions in a kind of casual manner. Also available to you, of course, is our email if you want to reach out about your admission-oriented questions via email. And then also there are going to be some upcoming events we'll have that are specifically around us as admission folks answering some of your more admission-oriented questions. For instance, we will be offering some office hours in January and February where you can just kind of hop in and ask, the kind of pressing questions you have about some of these more specific cases, or like what are you looking for, all of those sorts of things. But thank you to our alums for being here, and thank you to you all for being willing to learn some about SSP. I hope we can keep in touch via Discord, via email, and we wish you luck, and thank you so much.